Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update on commodities. I'm going to give you my financial opinions, like I always do. And if you guys need any help with anything, definitely check out finding-value.com. Become a platinum member. Use the word discount in the coupon code if you'd like to join that community. And again, a reminder, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Sunday, for the platinum question and answer session. Let's dive in. Let's take a look at dollar, yields, precious metals, commodities ETFs that I follow. So here we go. We've got the DXY here. So the DXY, again, we are against this big long-term support level going all the way back. And that support level is where we hit all of these areas. So we're coming back downward, hitting that support level. Are we going to break through it? I can tell you we've got a battle going on here, guys. It's a battle. We had a nice little breakout to the upside just to get sold off. And again, we're on that support level. I don't know which way we're going to break here. We're basically battling back and forth. If we break lower, it's a tailwind for our investments. If we go higher, generally what that indicates is that we've got a strengthening currency against other currencies. That strength generally comes from the bond market and from the interest rates. So my opinion around this, and I could be wrong, is that if we see interest rates go up, I think the dollar will go up. If we see interest rates go down, I think the dollar will go down with it. That's my take on it. The 10-year yield down a little bit today, down 1.6% on the short end. So we're down lower. Again, we are sitting on top of a monster trend line here. That's a 40-year plus trend line that we're sitting on top of. But we are down today. We're down 1.6% on the 10-year. The 30-year was up 0.22% and is sitting inside of this consolidation point. I think if we head lower, it's going to be the uninversion of the yield curve. If we head higher, we've got higher interest rates and assets get priced differently. What is going to cause this thing to tip one way or the other? I think if there's fear in the markets, we could go lower. If the fear is about inflation, or if the fear is about the bond market, people selling bonds because they're fearful to hold them, then we're going higher. Generally speaking, if you were to take a general rule of thumb, we've been moving higher. You get a consolidation pattern. You move higher, you get a consolidation pattern. I am not inclined to think that this can't go to the upside. It very well could. And what I call this is a stair-stepping pattern. What happens is you step on the stairs as it goes up. So that's what I'm seeing in the 30-year and 10-year. So 10 years slightly lower against support, 30 years still in this pattern, and we're trying to figure out which way we're going to go. TLT, which is bond prices, they go opposite of yields. So bond prices were lower today. Again, we're in this kind of just moving sideways deal. If you were to look at it, you could also draw this where you're coming on down, you came back up. Are we going to come back up to this area, retest, and go back lower? It's very well possible. That is if the fear in the market takes over and people run into bonds for a short period of time. The TYX-TNX ratio, which is highly correlated to gold, is moving up. That's generally when gold moves up. So we're getting that alignment there, and everything looks really good with that ratio and with gold moving with it. So gold is actually looking quite good to continue higher along with this ratio, which has a long runway ahead of it if this ratio continues to move higher. And how does that move higher? It's basically when the 30-year yield is anchored and the 10-year goes down. That is what could happen. And this could cycle back up, and then we come in and we cycle back down later within this bull market. The 2-year yield did fall today, And again, are we going to drop out below this support level? We're not below the support level yet. We're getting very close to it, and we'll see if it holds. Is this a inverted or a regular head and shoulders, where you get a shoulder, head, shoulder, and then we go back down to this breakout level? It's possible. It's very much possible. The CRB index flat today or sideways. Again, we've got lots of volatility over here. Look at that. Up, down, all around. It's all over the place. Could this pull back further? Yes, it could. It very well could. But we're holding together today, barely. CRB to S&P 500. I put this on here. Again, a lot of the times these guys bottom about 0.618 for wave 2. We're getting real close to that wave 2 bottom, maybe. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's generally where things like to turn around. 0.618, or we go all the way down to 0.786 if it decides it wants to go there. And this is the CRB to S&P 500. You can see that big move off the bottom, and then the retracement, and then when I think we're going to get another big wave 3 behind it. That does not mean it has to be immediate. Does not mean it's not 6 months from now. It could be 6 months from now. It could be a year from now. Don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Gold up about $8. Let's just say about 0.4% or so. We do have a little wick at the top. It ran up, and there is some resistance up there. I don't know what that resistance is. It could be from previous sellers. It could be central bank, maybe. But again, it looks okay. We do have a contraction in the opening and closing prices in these, and a wick at the top. So we might have a little bit of a pullback. We want to see small selling pressure days in that pullback, if we get one, like little guys like this, and then a resume higher. That's basically what we've got over here. It's the same type of setup. Silver also up 1.73%. This looks really strong. We've got a nice strong candlestick today. Looks fantastic. We back out, and this thing looks uber bullish, guys. Look at this on a monthly candlestick basis. It's starting to pull away from that trend line that it broke out of. So it looks fantastic, guys. Fantastic. We also have kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even accumulation cylinder. Maybe. So that even looks good. Platinum down $6.50. Not participating in the gold move yet, but I do think it will soon. So there's platinum just slightly lower, and we're right against that support level on the monthly. XAU to gold ratio, we continue to make progress to the upside in this ratio. We're getting closer each day. We're getting closer to this trend line break. Again, I call it the need to break this line for happiness. We're getting there, and it's getting closer and closer to that breakout. When we break out of that, we've broken the psychological downtrend of this ratio, the gold and silver miners versus gold itself. A lot of people won't know they've broken it, but what that means is that we are entering a new paradigm where people are viewing gold and silver mining companies differently. This is a big deal if we can break this and get moving to the upside, and I think it's got a really good chance to break it here soon. GDX up 2.38%, outperforming gold itself. We are trying to break out of this resistance area on the monthlies. There's the monthlies. So what I did on the monthlies, I tapped the closing points, and we're trying to get and break above it. If we break above this, we start to run. All of a sudden, our XAU to gold ratios break into the upside. We're breaking out of this pattern to the upside. We could get a nice little run out of this thing. Looks really good. GDX also, this is GDXJ, also put in a strong day today. There it is, a little bit of a wick at the top. But overall, looking at it from a monthly perspective, this still looks really good for a potential move higher. And then SILJ, this is the junior silver miners. We've got a pattern over here that we've broken to the upside. We're up 1.44% today. And it looks fantastic sitting on top of support. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a run out of this thing. And don't be afraid if this goes a little bit sideways on us for the next few days. That's okay too. Got to be patient. Looking at crude oil. So crude oil, to me, it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom, but this is what we're going to look for coming up next. We've got a very long wick at the bottom. Generally, when you get to certain levels, you get these big wicks at the bottom, right? There is support there. What we want to see is what is the follow through. Are we going to come up with these little candlesticks and then roll back over and probably go sideways for a little bit? Yeah, it's probably likely. So that's what I'm looking for. What is this thing going to do next? Are we going to get a big punch higher? Or is it going to be a weak kind of movement where we roll back over and have to consolidate a little bit longer? Natural gas down 3.82%. Again, I think this is going to be down for a while. I think oil might have to do this as well, where it bases out before heading on higher. XOP, yeah, you know me, selling off a little bit, down 1.5%, but we're back to basically where we were, where we started. A lot of the times, you get a good dig out of here, bullish engulfing, bullish piercing. We dig, run higher. We hit our head on resistance. We came all the way back to the starting point. If we break lower here, we're definitely going to the downside, and that's what we don't want to do. But it's possible. If we break to the downside, we've got support, I'm guessing around the $100 level. It'd be 10% plus pullback, and we get an inverted shoulder, head, shoulder that has developed for this pattern. And it may even be down there for a little while. It's possible that we stay down for a little while with the fear in the market. But I'm not bearish by any means. I am an ultra bull on the long term. What we're doing is this is wave one. We got to put in wave two, and then we're going to grind out that wave two, put in a larger pattern, and then have a massive pattern to explode higher from. OIH also heading a little bit lower, or it was actually higher today, 0.4%. But again, we're at that support level almost, and we'll see what we do from there. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we're grinding up on the upper trend line here, guys. Let's see what we can do. If we get a big break higher, I think the physical prices in uranium will go up, and I think our equities will follow after it. So the uranium URNM price up a little bit. This doesn't look bad, doesn't look great, but what I can say, if you look in this here, generally what happens is you get big selling pressure. So the candlesticks are really big. You can see all these big candlesticks. You can see the candlesticks are getting a little bit smaller. They're getting a little bit smaller. They're getting a little bit smaller. You see that characteristic in the candlesticks there, where they're contracting in the opening and closing price of the candlesticks. We're also quite small on the buying side too. I mean, they're getting a little bit better. And what we're trying to see here is we want to see a move on up with big green candlesticks. That's what we're looking for. Doesn't mean we'll get it. That's what we're looking for. But that's where we're at with uranium. Right on there. TAN popping out a little bit to the downside, down 0.64%. We could see a little bit more downside here if the sellers want to push it lower. We're starting to break to the downside. Now, the left-hand side here, guys, we came all the way back to here when we fell. So we fell this way and bounced up. This here is the reverse pattern of it, basically. We come on up, and then we might come down like that. So that is a possibility. That is kind of what I'm thinking it might happen. COPX down 0.44%. This does look a little bit heavier, where we could maybe dive bomb a little bit lower if the fear in the market continues. Generally, what you do is you get momentum, comes down, you get kind of a flag pattern, and then it kind of breaks out and comes back down a little bit more. It's a possibility. And that's with COPX. So we could come back down a little bit more than where we have. Lithium, LIT, still in the pattern. Up 0.1%. So we're just in this pattern, grinding it out. We'll see where it goes. REMX, also grinding. We got a lot of patterns that are grinding out right now. And we're coming to decision points soon. S&P 500 down 0.72%. This is looking more bearish by the second. As this thing throws in more and more bearish candlesticks, we'll see where we go. I'm going to hold my judgment. We're going to see where we go after tomorrow. If we break down, then we're heading lower. I'm not a bull in the S&P 500 by any means, guys. I have no horse in this race at all. But that's what it looks like right now. NASDAQ down 0.5%. We're up against that resistance level, still hitting our head on it. Again, we'll see where we go here. I don't have any horse in this race, but it's up against resistance. Emerging markets just moving sideways after this breakout there. And that's where we're at. We're just moving sideways. XHB down 1.6%. There we are on a upward grind. So I still think that upward grind is intact. I wouldn't do anything with it up here, but it's still intact, and there's a possibility that we could head lower here if the sellers want to push it. MU down 1.52%. We are breaking this to the downside like I thought we could. And I do think we could see some lower downside here to maybe about $70. Copper up 0.26%, right on support. And that is where we are at. We are riding and grinding on support. Lumber up 2.5%, right underneath resistance now, and we'll see if we can break through it. If not, we may head lower. If we head lower, gold, silver, and that TYX, TNX ratio are all going to be favorable for gold to go higher. And the market could slow down here if we see that. FEF, this is iron ore. Again, I think we're going to come back here to the support level, and we'll see where we go from there. This is a bigger picture view of that. We're coming back to this support level down there. Nickel up 3%, actually quite strong here, guys, and looking strong for a potential move higher for nickel. It's actually looking quite good. Aluminum down a little bit. Again, we're just moving sideways for the most part, and we're down 1%. Baltic Dry Index up 0.4, and again, I think this looks fantastic for a move higher still for the Baltic Dry Index. Newcastle coal down a little bit with natural gas down, and again, we're grinding out. I still think sideways to slightly higher. We're going to be doing our bounces. Bouncy, bouncy, bounce as we base out. Ethereum down 1.4%. Grinding sideways. Same with Bitcoin, grinding sideways. I do think this will potentially move higher from this inverted head and shoulders, and then we'll see where we go from there. Because we could come up here and then rotate lower. Maybe. We'll see. Again, I don't really study Bitcoin all that much, or Ethereum. I just have these in here stating, like, if they were to print money, I do think this will definitely go higher in a reflation. But I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if they're going to reflate. I don't know if they're going to hold off for a little bit, which they very well could. But I can definitely tell you this. The market conditions are ripe for gold, silver, platinum, and those types of metals to do very well in. Oil is cheap. Oil's cheap. It looks like we're trying to put in some sort of bottom, but it may take some time to base out a little bit. We've got a little bit of tearage from that selling pressure. It tore some things. So let's grind sideways a little bit. Let's create a base and then launch from the base. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Love to see you guys on Sunday for the question and answer session and answer whatever questions you guys got. We'll take a look at the charts. We'll take a look at these gold and silver mining companies, royalty companies. If you guys have some companies yourself that you want me to look at, I'm more than willing to look at whatever you guys want during those question and answer sessions and bring your questions of the overall markets. And obviously, we talk about market psychology. We talk about investing and a little bit about the markets. I'll go a little bit deeper into that as well. Maybe we kick off with that stuff in the beginning. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.